Welcome to the good life. Welcome to the good life.
The wait is over.
The wait is officially over. Good morning, and welcome to the Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on Gumbo Talk Thursday, and we are going to get all up in the stew. We have so many things to talk about this morning. I don't know if y'all watched that Republican presidential debate last night on CNN, but I did. We will jump all up in that. We will also discuss the Cool Clock Ahmed, and if you haven't heard about him, you should Google him before we discuss this, because it's a very interesting conversation. You know, we need to embrace tolerance in the United States of America. What happened to this child is absolutely ridiculous. And finally, we will be discussing the Pope. He is visiting the United States of America, so that will be a fun conversation. You know, there's so many things going on in the Catholic Church, so it will be a very, very, oh my goodness, Jamal is putting up a sign voting for Team Trump. That's a whole other conversation. But first and foremost, we would like to wish a very happy birthday to one of our co-hosts. We have Rachel back in the studio. We are here with Rachel, Jeanette, and Cindy, and it's Rachel's birthday this morning. Happy birthday.
Thank you, everybody. Happy birthday, Rachel.
And she has literally had a whirlwind. She has been out of the country. I did not say city. I did not say the state. I said the country. She's been out of the country, so she is back in studio with us. So tell us about your trip. Welcome back.
Oh, thanks so much. Well, my husband and I went to Prague and Berlin.
Oh, fun.
And
Cindy, they didn't pack us.
I know.
Okay, keep going.
Well, it was kind of like for my birthday, so too bad. Okay, but anyway.
No, we didn't want to be on that trip anyway.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But, you know, I really didn't know much about Prague before I went. It is the most spectacular city, and it's like a huge version of New Orleans in many ways.
Wow.
All the buildings, it did not get bombed in World War II, so they have all the original spectacular architecture. Sometimes people say it's like old Paris or something. So, and the churches, it's a predominantly Catholic country, and so there are the most amazing churches. Matter of fact, you know, Terry is Carmelite, is in the Carmelite order of Catholics, and when I was there, I met a whole church of Carmelite brothers and nuns, and had a nice visit with them in her honor, and it was it's beautiful. They have trams that run around their whole city like we're adding our streetcars, and they are so efficient and so amazing. I came back home thinking how proud I was that we were adding some of these streetcar lines back in. The most touching part, besides the beauty of the whole thing and the amazingness of it, was that we were in Germany, specifically in Berlin, at this time as they're deciding about all these refugees coming in from Syria. So we were we're on the trains that these people are taking. And it was especially interesting following the European news, you know, not watching it from
our perspective.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I mean, I was watching CNN Europe and Al Jazeera and the BBC and their take on all the different European governments and all their politics.
How is it different?
Well, they don't view the United States as the center of the universe, for starters.
Imagine that.
I mean, no, you know, not that they don't speak about it, but I mean, there's so much nuance, you know, to each of these countries, and whether a country has euros or doesn't have euros, and you know, it's just it was really fascinating. But the idea that Prague was so much like a big version of New Orleans was fascinating to us, and it was just magnificent. So we had a wonderful time and appreciated everything.
Well, we are excited that you had a wonderful birthday trip around the world.
Okay, now don't go being jealous. It's okay.
You know, slightly, but you know that's not the good life, so we're not going to be jealous.
Yeah, that's right. We do not get jealous. We just get even.
Right. We were living vicariously through you. And speaking of living vicariously through other people, did y'all watch the debate last night? Oh my goodness. No. Look at Rachel's nodding her head. I watched the debate, and I was talking to my sister this morning. She's like, who do you think won? And I was like, I don't think anybody won. Did you see? I mean, I think more people got airtime than they did before, so that, you know, more people may know them and they got more attention. But I don't think anybody was like, oh, they won the debate. Did you feel like anybody won the debate?
No, I think a lot of people got their voices heard. I think it made the playing field a little bit more level. I think it toned down Trump.
Yes.
I loved hearing him apologize to
Carly,
and then her response. Well, I think women heard you. I thought that was awesome.
Right, I
mean,
do
it's
too.
Just like,
kind of
all right, I'd vote for her just on that line alone, you know. But you know, there are a lot of whether you're a Democrat or Republican, people are willing to step up to the plate and commit to the ultimate in public service.
Right.
And I think they deserve, a voice, so at least we can hear what their thoughts are, so we're informed,
Exactly.
And give them a chance.
Absolutely.
To have a say.
And I used to be pretty prejudiced when I would watch Republican debates. I was like, yeah, whatever. But, we preach here on the good life. You got to be open your mind to living differently in the world. And, just the way that we believe in our beliefs, wholeheartedly. They believe in their beliefs wholeheartedly. So you have to listen. And, we're not right with everything. Everybody has points that you can, merge together to make the world a better place. So I was really listening to them. And who kind of stuck out to me last night? And it wasn't necessarily on a political point of view, but Chris Christie. When Trump and Carly were going back and forth about, how well they have done in building their businesses and who did better financially and brought somebody out of a trap, and I made this much money and we, increased this much percentage. He was like, really? He's like, the average person is trying to pay their light bill and you are bickering about how many percentage points that you increased your corporate sales. They're like, no one is interested in that right now, and you sound like children. We need to be worried about the average American person. And I was like, yeah! I was like, go ahead, Chris Christie. Like, what did you think about that, Jeanette? Like, I mean, how do you feel about, the Republican candidates in general?
It was a bit of a circus, which was to be expected.
Right.
I do agree with the Christie sentiment, but I think it's because he is a big enough personality to bump up against Trump and hold his own. Mm-hmm. Trump is the loudest, and he has what some people feel are the most radical opinions. And Christie, again, he's kind of on the other side, at least in this debate, but loud enough, big enough personality to kind of to push back. So that was the part that I enjoyed. Ben Carson said some interesting things as well.
He did.
Some of them disturbing.
Yes, I mean,
concerning, but interesting nonetheless.
It's a catch-22 situation. We have Terry on the line. Terry, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, ladies. I'm fine. Thank you.
Did you enjoy the Republican debate as well?
Oh, God, did I? And any time the Don is on, it's just the things that this man says just never cease to amaze me. And for Christ's sake, he'd love to be president. Wow.
And he's leading the polls by so much. And every time you look at the different, states, and he's leading and gaining. And I think some of the surprises are the Ben Carson, coming, kind of gaining, and then the Carly Fiorina, gaining. And so they really do have different aspects. Do you think it's interesting that the front runners aren't really politicians, that they're really kind of leaders in their own industries?
No,
well, they're saying that it's
the people. You see, here's the deal. The reason why the front runners are not politicians because the people are tired of the political party. They're tired of they want new voices, new energy, new people that have that's saying what they want to hear. Mm-hmm. That's promising. You're like us. You're not a politician. I'm going to put you in. But here's the deal. The only problem with doing that is you've got a lot of learning to do, and there's grooming. In order for you to be a neurosurgeon, you've got to be groomed or educated or trained. Mm-hmm. And the problem that we had, and I'll just use the example of Ray Nagin. When you have a non-politician going into a political seat, they don't know how the political processes, what takes place. They don't know it as much as the person that has gone through the ranks in the training. Mm-hmm. So you get that learning curve there. You can say anything that the people want. But actually, can you get it done as a politician? And the answer is no.
So it's a catch-22.
Yeah, the answer is no. So that's why people lean toward that. But the Republican Party isn't going to pick Donald Trump. They're not. That's the bottom line.
We have a long way to go. This is just the prelude.
Exactly. And generally, the person who's the front runner at this point in the campaign is not the person that ends up being the nominee anyway. Correct. Go ahead, Cindy.
No, my thought on what Terry was saying, that even though we enjoy what, the leader is saying, but do we, as voters, do we actually go and cast that vote for that person? Because we question about, does he have that experience of running an office or not? So while we enjoy, we connect with their speech and everything, but I think it changed for voters when they actually get to the voting poll and say, man, I like what he's saying, but can he really do, or can they really do the job?
Right.
Exactly. So I think there's a lot of mixed feelings on that.
There's a debate coming up also on CNN for the Democrats.
Right.
And I think the same thing where the non-politician is surging right now is also true in the Democratic Party. It's
Right.
I think it's a universal I think it's something all Americans can agree on. Everybody's, frustrated.
Yeah.
That's a clear signal.
Well, look at the approval rating for Congress. It's like the lowest it's ever been.
Was
ever.
it like 0 or
right,
something?
basically it should be. I'm like, the bickering and I'm personally, obviously, you all know I'm a Democrat, but the Republicans have been like holding the House hostage in the Congress hostage for so long. I think we're just over it. Even the Republican, voters are over them holding it hostage. So at what point are you going to be like, this isn't working, let's try something new? And that's what, I believe that Donald Trump, Carly and Ben Carson are offering them. They're offering them that something different.
Well, I've noticed over all the years since I'm the oldest in the group, especially today.
Yes.
That in
And
all,
You look younger, though.
yeah, thank you. Oh, you want something.
I do.
Anyway, here's the thing, that in all elections, particularly the presidential elections, there's an election season, and even though it wears everyone out, especially the voters, not just to mention the candidates, there's a reason that it's great that we have a very long period where people have to present their opinions and their thoughts, and they have to show their behavior in public, because it has a way of filtering itself out in many ways. Don't you find?
I do. I absolutely do. And hopefully this process, we will get over the circus aspect in the newness of the presidential election, because I think it's kind of exciting when it first starts. Who's throwing digs at who, and how far is it going to go, and the media circus of it. And then you kind of really get down to those everyday topics and issues that are really going to affect the everyday American.
Well, I want to say my favorite part
Which one was your favorite part?
was how horrible Jindal was, because I couldn't believe it. My favorite line of the entire election season, of course this shows my bias, but, I'm allowed to say it, and that is when he goes after Trump saying he's an egomaniac only interested in getting elected. And I'm like, really? I almost wrote a letter to the New York Times, I swear. I was just like,
Are you
really?
talking about yourself?
If the shoe fits, buddy, you ought to be looking,
Wear it. Slap it up, tie it up, and wear it.
Oh, my God, that was my favorite part so far.
I can't even with him. Like, not even trying to be funny. Like, you're a non-factor, and the only way that you get any press and airtime is to discuss Donald Trump. And to be perfectly honest, that's how everyone is getting airtime.
But they're trying to change that. In other words, they're trying for it to be about their positions.
Their positions.
And they're struggling.
And I think the CNN debate was a little bit more, substantive. That they did speak about that, but they were saying how, Carly got more airtime, and Carson got more airtime, and a couple others. But I was like, their airtime was in debate with him, because the way that they structured the questions was, Jonette, let's see, Jonette said this. What do you think about her saying this?
Right.
And then you had to respond to the other candidate, but half the time the candidate was Trump.
Right, and well, the challenge is he's the only one that has been consistently out presenting his points of view. I think what the other candidates thought was he's a joke and he's going to go away. And as he picked up steam, they panicked, and they're behind the eight ball at this point.
Right.
His points of view are crystal clear, and they're having to respond to it. He is, but again, because he's been the most vocal, so they've got to up their campaigning at this point. I really thought they thought he would fade away right now, and then they would be able to focus on what they want to, and he's not. He's controlling it right now.
Exactly.
Did you all see that Jimmy Fallon mirror skit that he did
Oh my
with
God,
Trump?
that was so funny.
I think that was the funniest thing ever on television.
The
I mean,
funniest
if you
ever.
haven't seen it, go to YouTube and Google the thing. It's just friggin' amazing.
Terry, what do you think about it?
Oh my God, it was amazing. He's sort of coined Donald Trump. It's wonderful. And,
Look just like him, too.
He looks like, but he sounds
Hair
like
and
him.
all.
The things that he says are so the Don. And the key factor that that Jimmy Fallon is, I'm waiting for Donald Trump to just sort of, mock Jimmy Fallon. That won't happen. But it's real. What the things that Donald Trump, that Jimmy Fallon is mocking about Donald is true. And it's a joke. The other night when they did the skit on another show of the Trump stamp. They were slapping Trump stamps on people. I mean, all of this stuff is funny. It's great, but folks, this is a political presidential candidate that we are making continuous jokes about.
Right.
The political campaign has taken a twist. Go back 8 years ago when you had, 7 years ago when you had, true candidates running for office for the first time, and you had President Obama. It was nothing like this.
Nothing.
It has turned into a media frenzy.
Literally.
Every comedian is jumping on it and just making jokes. We've got to. Everybody is running around trying to respond to Donald Trump, but they're sort of not sticking to the issues. Last night was a pick on you and defend yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I want to hear your agenda. I want to hear what you're going to do for this nation. We've got a lot of problems and issues here. They can't talk about those because everybody's constantly putting out fires from Donald Trump mouthing off, and he can't do the things that he's talking about doing. You can't get that done as a politician. As a business person, yes. So take your money and put it to good for the nation instead of good for yourself, Donald Trump. That's what I have to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't think what he's doing is any different than what Congress is doing, right? He's speaking to the 1%, and while they're the minority, they're the loudest. They push their agenda. So it's a brilliant campaign on his part.
But it's not 1% because he's got such high numbers in the polls. He's not just speaking to 1%.
Well, that other contingency typically supports the 1% in spite of how it impacts them, and he's found a way to key in on what concerns them, namely immigration. And it's insane. Everybody's an immigrant, and but no one seems to.
That's
to
true.
Think everybody.
That. We're all immigrants,
and all of us. He is the grandson of an immigrant. Jindal is, to use the term, he's an anchor baby, and he is fighting against anchor babies being legal. It's just insane. It's insane. But I will say Trump, a couple of things are working in his favor. One, he's financing himself, so he doesn't have to answer to anybody.
Right.
He can absolutely go on his own
and I think
agenda.
a lot of people really appreciate that.
Yes, because they feel like they're being controlled, whether it's Koch brothers or whomever, somebody else is pulling the strings. He doesn't have to answer to anyone, and I think that's what scares his competition more than anybody else. They have to focus on someone else's agenda, and he doesn't. And I do respect that about him. He can say and do exactly what he wants, which is kind of what you want in a politician, right?
Hey, I want to grow up to be like that.
Hey, right.
not like him, but I got this.
Right. Don't need you.
You're almost there. Anyway, look, I was speaking on this topic. I had an interesting experience when I was in Europe. This group of people, most people speak English in Czechoslovakia, and they asked me where I was from, and I said America. And they looked at me and they said,
look at you crazy?
No. They asked me if I was, y'all aren't going to like what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway because I found it interesting. I told Terry, they asked me if I was Canadian American or U.S. American. And I looked at them and said, I was like, what are you talking about? American is U.S.
Right.
Well, in Europe, America is a continent. And, you're either Canadian American or U.S. American or Central American.
Well, that's
so then they're asking me, here's where I told Terry I didn't even know what to say. They said, so what's the deal where you have, African American and Asian American? Isn't everybody, American if you're, from the United States?
Right.
And I said, that's a pretty divisive issue. I said, many people, I would figure maybe, I don't know for sure, but I would figure half the people think all those labels should be dropped and everyone should just be American.
Right.
And I said, I laughed, and because, they're nice people. I said, well, when you fill out a form, it does say, Caucasian, non-Hispanic, Caucasian, Hispanic, not, Asian, you know what I mean, Indian American, I don't know what it says. And to a European, it looks ridiculous.
Absolutely. But remember we talked about that
it really struck me, and I was like, from now on, I just think everyone ought to be American. I don't know.
We talked about that on another show when we were discussing with someone I knew from, Africa, who says the same thing. They had people who live in Africa, who I'm going to call them Africans, who were looking at us like, why do you call yourselves African Americans? When was the last time you visited? What's your relationship?
Right, what
country?
country?
It is an American dynamic. We mix up race, nationality, and ethnicity. It's all one thing to us, and that's unique to us. It makes no sense anyplace else.
Well, what do you all think? Do you think everyone ought to be American?
Well,
technically.
And it is. We are by nationality, but race-wise, no. Ethnicity, probably not so much. But we continue to meld those things, and they're three distinct.
But you all would describe yourselves as African American.
But just like you say, we're a nation of immigrants. What other country, nation, whatever you want to call it, is like that?
But I would never say I was European American.
This is true.
I would never say that.
That's,
Go ahead.
I was going to say I think that's exclusive to Europeans, though. We have Italian Americans, we have Mexican Americans,
Exactly.
we have African Americans.
Yeah, but there's not a designation on our legal forms that you're Italian American.
Again, because it's an American construct.
Right.
It's really, isn't it? It's a weird.
It is.
deal.
It's very bizarre.
Anyway, I didn't know what the right answer
No,
was. So
no,
it's
no.
like, oh
This
God,
is definitely food for thought and water cooler conversation. So let's have this conversation, and maybe we will follow this back up on next Thursday on Gumbo Talk and really get in the stew. This is Gumbo Talk. We will be right back, and we're going to talk about Cool Clock Ahmed, because that is an interesting conversation. This is Gumbo Talk. We'll be right back, y'all. L&R Security provides the good life. They make their mark in the security arena by providing excellent security services for more than 35 years and are licensed in more than 13 states. L&R Security's team comes with a wealth of experience from the military, law enforcement, and law enforcement training. Their personnel is comprised of more than 200 employees trained in video monitoring, special event services, convention services, armed and unarmed security guards, ticket takers, executive security, personal bodyguards, hall monitors, and critical infrastructure personnel that are TSA trained. L&R Security services are provided on a 24-hour basis and have expanded to the newest technology, including video monitoring. Find them on the web at www.lrsecurity.com or call them today at 504-943-3191. Again, that number is 504-943-3191. Live the good life with L&R Security today. Are you tired of that squeaking door, those uneven steps, or that room you want painted? Have you been looking for that trustworthy contractor that is licensed and insured that can handle all of your residential construction needs? Well, look no further. Elite Southern Solutions can handle all your residential needs. There is no job too big or too small that Elite Southern Solutions can't complete to perfection. Call them at 504-756-7933. That's 504-756-7933. To add value to your home, to update your bathroom, add that much-needed storage, or finally remodel your kitchen. Elite Southern Solutions will take care of that water leak repair, those boards that need to be replaced after termite season. Call a contractor you can trust to get the job done right the first time. And that's Elite Southern Solutions. They are fully licensed and insured and will give you peace of mind. Call them today at 504-756-7933. That's 504-756-7933. That's Elite Southern Solutions, getting the job done right the first time. Do you know anyone with less than perfect credit? At KB Enterprises, they specialize in restoring your score. Learn how to increase your credit score with 100% satisfaction guarantee. A+ rating with the BBB, 10-year track record of removing negative items including repossessions, foreclosures, bankruptcies, tax liens, student loans, and more. Kenneth Barnes and his team at KB Enterprises are excited about helping you restore your credit and achieving your financial goals. Whether it's acquiring a home or purchasing a car, don't miss this opportunity to change your life forever. For more info, give them a call at 504-577-4139. Log on to www.kennethbarnes.org and be sure to tune into The Good Life on Money Mondays and get your financial tips for the week from Kenneth Barnes so you can live the good life too.
I need help. My hair is a mess and my man texts me telling me to be ready for 8. He has a surprise. What am I going to do? My stylist takes forever.
I got you. Call Ringlet Salon. I just left there.
Where?
Ringlet Salon. They took me within minutes and had me in and out in no time. Very professional, and I scheduled online at ringlets.com.
For real?
Girl, for real.
Does Ringlet Salon hook up your roots?
Looks like I got a perm, and you know I'm anti-chemicals. Ringlet Salon has my hair soft and bouncy. I'm getting the Brazilian Blowout Express next week. It eliminates frizz for 6 weeks.
6 weeks? Okay, I'm all about Ringlet Salon. Where are they located?
Ringlets has 2 locations, one at 4712 Paris Avenue and one in the Hilton Hotel on the river. That location validates parking for 4 hours and is open on Sunday.
Perfect for a working woman like me. That's all I needed to know. I'm going to be fresh for my man.
You will if you schedule your appointment at ringlets.com. That's RINGLETTS.com.
Bye. Go and make my appointment with Ringlet Salon now.
Are you looking for a better way to get fit? Bored with the same old routines? Looking for results or a way to instill discipline in the kids? Tiger Rock Martial Arts is the answer with Taekwondo, kickboxing, and self-defense classes. Tiger Rock diversifies your training in ways that allows individuals of all ages and fitness levels to feel like a champion. Join Tiger Rock today. TigerRockNola.com or 504-455-9694. That's 504-455-9694 with a 3-class starter pack starting for only $38, which includes your training uniform. Learn, grow, and succeed with Tiger Rock's 3 convenient locations: Old Metairie, West Bank, and Clearview. There's no better time to start gaining strength, skills, and protection for life than now. 504-455-9694. 504-455-9694. See you on the mat.
Vivid Image Consulting, certified wardrobe consultants, is an image management and style branding company providing customized professional services to corporations and individuals. Home of My Private Stylist and Men of Style, now offering J. Hilburn custom shirts. They help organizations gain a business edge over their competition, and they can assist you in elevating your unique look and style. They can help you refine and enhance your personal and professional brand. Contact your style concierge at vividimageconsulting.com. vividimageconsulting.com.
WBOK, real talk for real times.
Welcome to the good life. Welcome to the good life.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on Gumbo Talk Thursday with the ladies. It is Rachel's birthday. Happy birthday, Rachel. She is back in the studio from her world tour. We also have Jeanette and Cindy, and we have Terry on the line. And we are about to jump back in the stew because I don't know if you all heard about Ahmed Mohammed, but this story is really, I don't know. I'm going to tell you what happened and then we'll discuss it. So a 14-year-old Muslim boy became a sensation on social media yesterday after word spread that he had been placed in handcuffs, and suspended from school because he made a homemade clock that his teachers thought resembled a bomb. And his suspension from school still stands, and no one has apologized to him. He appeared at a news conference Wednesday alongside his attorney, a representative of the Muslim community, and his family members. It's sad that it has even gotten to this point. He said, I guess everyone knows I'm the person who built the clock and got in a lot of trouble. He's like, I just felt like I was a criminal. You know, I was profiled as a terrorist. The teen said he built the clock to impress his teacher, and when he showed it to her Monday, she thought it was a threat towards her. Why are you taking that personally? He's a 14-year-old child. Exactly. He ended up being detained by police in the school, and later that day he was arrested. And I'm like, who takes it to that level? Well, there was response from the President of the United States. He tweeted, "Cool clock, Ahmed. Want to bring it to the White House? We should inspire more kids like you to like science. It's what makes America's great." He was also invited by Twitter and have been offered to have an internship with Twitter. He has been offered an invitation to go visit Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook and Google as well to go to their science fair. So, number one, the sad part for me, before we can really jump in the story, is that the intolerance that we still have in our community, that a child who is trying to impress his teacher by building something takes offense to it because of his heritage, and you created a bomb and you put this child in handcuffs? Like, are you serious?
Yeah, selective offense is where I struggle with it. So a couple of things. One, bombs don't look like they look in the movies. It's not a suitcase with this giant timer that counts down, which is what it looked like. Secondly, if she legitimately thought it was a threat, they would have evacuated the school. That never happened. Right. She took issue with this child in a town, from what I was researching, has issues. Islamophobia. They have had several issues within this town in Texas around Islamophobia. So I'm calling a spade in this one,
Right.
where it was about the kid and not the device itself. Because if somebody walks in what looks like a bomb here, we're all running out the door.
Right.
I'm not going to be like, I think you built a bomb, I'm calling the police. And then we just kind of hang out and wait for somebody to show up. Like, it doesn't happen.
Right.
And, again, he's 14. Hopefully they didn't kill his creative fire.
Oh, yeah.
He did what any STEM loving 14-year-old child would have done.
Isn't that what we're teaching our children now?
We are. We should be.
We're trying
To
to
be
teach them to be
creative,
creative.
Yeah, innovative. And I mean, when I read the story, I was like, because I have kids, and it's like, man, that really.
I would be excited. Like, Aiden, you made a
Exactly.
clock?
Oh my God, you're a genius.
Yes.
It's like, thank God you got it from
I'm
somebody.
not gonna have to pay for you one day. Yes, I gotta get out of jail free card. You're a genius. Like that's what you should be encouraging your children to do, to take the initiative to build something.
Correct. So shout out to Ma. So keep up that spirit, Ma. Don't let ignorant wipe you out. Stay strong, and because I'm like, God, this is a genius here, and an adult just kind of took it to the extreme. It's like,
Literally.
How do you go from educational science, building a clock, to all the way to the other end of the spectrum? It's like, it's unbelievable.
Well, the school should, put the teacher on suspension, in my opinion, because
He's still on
how
suspension.
can you stand before class after that and tell them to be creative and tell them to think? I mean, what you did to a child that did exactly that, was arrested for it? No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think she should be reprimanded.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His father said he just wants to invent good things for mankind. But because his name is Mohammed and because of September 11th, he thinks his son got mistreated.
Well, I think
It
that's
is.
probably a
Probably,
pretty
yeah.
accurate thing.
Yeah.
But look at the upside. Yes, this kid has had this just, can't make it go away experience.
Right.
But it probably has opened up doors for him that never would have
Never
been
would have been
open.
opened.
And maybe it will give him more opportunities to do great things with that creative mind that he has than he ever would have been afforded.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's true.
So let's look at the,
Upside
you know what I mean?
down.
Out of bad, sometimes
Correct.
good things
Correct.
come.
And that's
sure.
generally how everything happens. So now that it has opened the minds of the country, because it's, we're talking about it, they're talking about it on all of the major news stations. So how do you think that this situation or this incident can help change the nation and, our mindsets to be a little bit more tolerant, to be a little bit more, non-judgmental, not jump to conclusions when a child is, trying to be creative? How can this hopefully change our country?
I don't think it will.
Oh, that's
I
so
know you were
sad.
looking-
That
I
is
know-
not the good life.
I know you don't want me to be Debbie
I
Downer and
know.
everything, but
Well,
I
that's
have
why,
to
we have to look at different points of view, so go ahead.
Yeah, but I just have to say, of course I think it's ridiculous what happened to this kid. Let's just say that right up front. But, people are very nervous about terrorism.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say what's really on people's minds. People are very nervous, and some people are jumpier than others, and some people are more prejudiced or biased than others. And I don't see that this experience is particularly going to, the people who are the jumpiest and the most nervous about terrorism, I think they probably feel better safe than sorry.
Mm.
And that's probably why he hasn't been issued an apology.
I know. Can you believe that,
So,
though? Like,
well,
seriously.
I'm just saying, I was telling John, when I was in Europe, their perspective is different because terrorism is an everyday reality for them. For us, yes, we have horrible things that have happened, certainly mind-blowing things, but it's not, you don't wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, and worry that, when you take the subway somewhere you're going to get blown up or you might be this, that, or the other thing. People, and different people respond to these kind of stresses differently.
Sure.
So I can't, of course I don't agree with them, you know what I mean? But I do have some empathy because I think, people are scared. That's a human emotion.
I completely agree with you. I don't think it will change anything. I do think, though,
Y'all gonna make me
But we got to be positive.
I know, but I do
Right.
think part of what
Y'all
we
know I'm
should
positive
learn here.
Polly.
I know.
Yeah.
No, but that's why I need y'all.
When we know that we're wrong, like in this instance, we're wrong, we need to be able to step up to the plate
Correct.
and say we're wrong. And they're
Exactly.
unwilling to do so. And I think that's the bigger problem. We can't paint with such a broad brush and then not look back and make the adjustments when we have the opportunity to do so.
Right. Terry?
What kind of school
I
system
agree,
is that?
Because And I don't know if this would change things. We've had so many things go wrong, with young students, unfortunately, that I think that is going to outweigh what has happened. The apology should come from, the school with this kid, and the nation is, standing against what happened and standing for him, and we should. But will this change the nation? I don't think so, because we're in such high mode of terrorist acts, of acts that are against racial acts. We've got a lot going on, and I think that is going to be the thing that stands up when the next event happens. Hopefully, nothing will happen, but anything that happens will take away, the standing for Ahmed that's taking place right now today. Hopefully, it will make some difference, but I don't think so.
Well, I have some hope.
Okay.
Right.
Last but not least, hope.
Hope, yeah, because I just think that, because I know the war is really big and, everybody comes from a different background, but we just got to continue to believe that things are going to get better.
Absolutely.
I guess for me is having 6 kids, and I got to create hopes for my children. I just can't say, well, it's going to happen again, blah, blah, blah. But I recognize, I hear what you guys are saying as well. But I'm going to have some hope.
I'd like to have some hope, too.
Yes.
I think we should all try to be the change we want to see in the world.
They love living in La La Land.
But
it's
you know
awesome.
what? That's what
La La Land is pretty.
That's what the good life is all
it's
about.
It's a pretty place.
That's what the good life is all about. And if we can change one person's mind, that's opening their mind to living differently in the world. And the funny thing is, here's the irony of it. Ahmed Muhammad was wearing a NASA T-shirt when he was arrested.
Yeah.
And NASA, one of the scientists tweeted an invitation for him to come visit his lab.
He'll be fine.
Right.
He'll
but
be
I'm
yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
so come on, y'all. Let's be a little bit more tolerant. This is The Good Life. This is Gumbo Talk, and we'll be right back to discuss Pope Francis' visit to the United States. We'll be right back, y'all. Stay tuned.
Are you looking for a better way to get fit? Bored with the same old routines? Looking for results or a way to instill discipline in the kids? Tiger Rock Martial Arts is the answer with Taekwondo, kickboxing, and self-defense classes. Tiger Rock diversifies your training in ways that allows individuals of all ages and fitness levels to feel like a champion. Join Tiger Rock today. TigerRockNola.com or 504-455-9694. That's 504-455-9694 with a 3-class starter pack starting for only $38, which includes your training uniform. Learn, grow, and succeed with Tiger Rock's 3 convenient locations: Old Metairie, West Bank, and Clearview. There's no better time to start gaining strength, skills, and protection for life than now. 504-455-9694. 504-455-9694. See you on the mat.
The Crescent City chapter of the Lynx Incorporated invites you to join in a special tribute to celebrate the Champions for Change. Saturday, September 19th at the Hyatt Regency, 601 Loyola Avenue, featuring a fashionable journey to the Emerald City. Tickets are $75 with sponsorship levels starting at $1,500. This year's honorees include Carol F. Bebel, Dr. Calvin Mackey, Monique Harden, Curtis Pierre Casa Samba Man, and Dr. Corey Hebert. It's the 2015 Champions for Change luncheon presented by the Crescent City chapter of the Lynx Incorporated. Saturday, September 19th at the Hyatt Regency, 601 Loyola Avenue. Doors open at 11 a.m. with a silent auction at 10 a.m. Join us as we honor the 2015 Champions for Change with the Crescent City chapter of the Lynx Incorporated. Linked in friendship, connected in service. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit www.eventbrite.com and search Champions for Change Luncheon.
Are you tired of that squeaking door, those uneven steps, or that room you want painted? Have you been looking for that trustworthy contractor that is licensed and insured that can handle all of your residential construction needs? Well, look no further. Elite Southern Solutions can handle all your residential needs. There is no job too big or too small that Elite Southern Solutions can't complete to perfection. Call them at 504-756-7933. That's 504-756-7933. To add value to your home, to update your bathroom, at that add much needed storage, or finally remodel your kitchen, Elite Southern Solutions will take care of that water leak repair, those boards that need to be replaced after termite season. Call a contractor you can trust to get the job done right the first time. And that's Elite Southern Solutions. They are fully licensed and insured and will give you peace of mind. Call them today at 504-756-7933. That's 504-756-7933. That's Elite Southern Solutions, getting the job done right the first time.
WBOK 1230 AM presents the NOLA Jam Session. This new monthly event will highlight one of New Orleans' prized possessions, local music. Music has always been a vehicle for communication between people, religion, and race. It's the universal language. Join us for the inaugural NOLA Jam Session, September 22nd at the world's famous Cafe Istanbul, 2372 St. Claude Avenue. We'll be featuring the sounds of Philip Manuel, Troy Sawyer and the Elements, and James 12 Andrews and the Crescent City All-Stars. Show starts at 8 p.m., $10 at the door. It's the NOLA Jam Session, hosted by me, Graylin Banks. Come out and enjoy live music, dancing, and drinks at Cafe Istanbul, Tuesday, September 22nd at 8 p.m., featuring Philip Manuel, Troy Sawyer and the Elements, and James 12 Andrews and the Crescent City All-Stars. Help support your station and our beloved musicians. For pre-sale tickets or more information, call 504-942-0106. We know you want to jam. We'll see you there.
Hello?
I need help. My hair is a mess and my man texts me telling me to be ready for 8. He has a surprise. What am I going to do? My stylist takes forever.
I got you. Call Ringlet Salon. I just left there.
Where?
Ringlet Salon. They took me within minutes and had me in and out in no time. Very professional, and I scheduled online at ringlets.com.
For real?
Girl, for real.
Does Ringlet Salon hook up your roots?
Looks like I got a perm, and you know I'm anti-chemicals. Ringlet Salon has my hair soft and bouncy. I'm getting the Brazilian Blowout Express next week. It eliminates frizz for 6 weeks.
6 weeks? Okay, I'm all about Ringlet Salon. Where are they located?
Ringlets has 2 locations, one at 4712 Paris Avenue and one in the Hilton Hotel on the river. That location validates parking for 4 hours and is open on Sunday.
Perfect for a working woman like me. That's all I needed to know. I'm going to be fresh from my man.
You will if you schedule your appointment at ringlets.com. That's RINGLETTS.com.
Bye. Go and make my appointment with Ringlet Salon now.
Talk radio heard around the globe. New Orleans owned WBOK 1230 AM and WBOK1230AM.com. Real talk for real times.
Welcome to the good life. Welcome to the good life.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on Gumbo Talk Thursday, and I have all of the ladies. It is Rachel's birthday, and she is in the studio, back from Prague, Germany, and everywhere else that she's been flying around, but I got you stuck like a tack here today. We have Jeanette in the studio, we have Cindy in the studio, and we have Terry on the line this morning. We've been getting all in the stew with the Republican debate. We've been talking about Ku Klux Ahmed. And finally, this is my favorite topic for today, our favorite Pope.
Before we go on to pass from Ku Klux Ahmed, I just have one comment about, people looking at people and, judging them for the way they look. My husband, gets profiled at the airport.
He really does. He really
And,
does.
That's funny because I know.
Kurt used to carry a briefcase. He doesn't do that anymore, or a backpack, because
He's African American, but he really could pass for Middle Eastern.
He does.
Yeah.
if he carries a briefcase or a backpack. So what Kurt tries to do is when
it's
he
funny, but it's not
flies,
funny.
poor thing, he just carries his newspaper. He finds he gets pulled over less and checked when he just had, which is awful.
Jeanette, we'll have to show you a picture of Kurt.
Really?
Like Terry, text us a picture of him. Like, not trying to be funny. Like,
Well, he's a very good-looking man.
he is. He's
He's
a very handsome gentleman. But if you did not know and you're looking from afar and you're just basing it off of general ideas or
Terry's
general,
married to a terrorist. I knew it.
No, that's terrible. That's terrible. But
That's awful. But I will send you a picture so that you can see what I'm talking about. But he gets
but he's an awesome guy.
Powerful.
He is, and he is absolutely one of the sweetest men. And it's crazy that, that we have people who are dealing with this, but luckily that we have Pope Francis, who's visiting the United States, and hopefully he can give us a little bit of, insight and open, maybe he can deliver the good life to the United States. Maybe he's the one person that everyone will listen to, and he will open people's minds to living differently in the world. Starting on Tuesday, Pope Francis will pass through Washington, D.C., New York City, and Philadelphia over the course of 6 days. The arrival of the People's Pope will be, subsequent in an increase in tourism, hotel, and restaurant spending. It's expected to generate anywhere from $400 million to $500 million in Philadelphia, while D.C. and New York should also see some major tourism boosts. So just think of the
Why isn't he coming to New Orleans?
Right.
No. Why isn't he coming here?
We got issues. We got to work on our issues first. But the funniest thing is, right, exactly. But the funniest thing is with all of these things, one of the conversations that he has been having is the idolatry of money. So I'm going to give you a quote from him so we can kind of, speaking of how much money he's going to bring, and then, how he says that we're kind of controlled by it. The worship of the ancient golden calf has returned in a new and ruthless guise, and the idolatry of money and the dictatorship of an impersonal economy lacking a truly human purpose. The worldwide crisis affecting finance and the economy lays bare their imbalances and, above all, their lack of real concern for human beings. Man is reduced to one of his needs alone, consumption. By our Pope Francis.
He's a smart man. He's a smart.
He delivers
He's attacking
it.
everything head on. He is pulling no punches, and I love him for it.
I just want to hug him.
Yeah. I think he is helping to revitalize the Christian base. Catholic base, because the numbers were down. The numbers were down. Absolutely. The millennials, they've stepped away from religion, certainly organized religion. A lot more millennials identify as atheists than previous generations.
And I'm just like, I personally believe being religious and spiritual are two different things.
Absolutely.
But I think, we've even, not we have, but, some of our millennials have even, separated from being spiritual, which is the hardest part for me to digest. If you don't want to be religious, that's one thing, but they're losing their spirituality as well.
Yeah. Well, it's exactly what you just read, though.
Right.
It's because of what our focus is. It's on money and things, and there's all this separation led by religion, right? Religion says we don't support gay marriage. Religion says that we can't do all of these things that they don't hold the same biases toward as previous generations. So they've completely stepped away because they don't believe in any of the tenets of the faith.
Right.
And he's bridging that gap, though, I think pretty
on
well.
So many levels, like just on something that the millennials believe, climate change.
Yeah.
Just opening people's mind to climate change, and the Republicans are like, what? And how many of the Republican Party really are staunch? There is no such thing as climate change. This doesn't exist. And then you have the Pope, who's the leader of your faith, come out and they say, yes, it is. And you're like,
right.
Wow.
So what do? You're technically in a catch-22 situation. Terry, your thoughts?
Oh, the Pope is just, he's a phenomenal man, first and foremost. And what he's doing, let me just touch quickly upon how he's trying to reform when individuals get an annulment.
Yes.
Process, change that. I think that's going to hopefully bring people back to the church that have gone through divorce, that are Catholic, because, we're losing so many. The millenniums do not grab a religion the way we were trained. When we were brought up, our parents, were diehards about you going to church, attending church, and staying with the faith of the mother, mostly, in tradition. The millenniums don't think that way. I want to go out and find my own, create my own. I'm bringing my own tradition up. And the Catholic religion is losing so many people because it's just not the same. The Pope is trying to change that and make it more of a 20th century thought process and religion practice for the people. It's not just about for Catholics anymore. He's trying to grab the nation.
Absolutely.
And bring them and bring them back to, religion, period. I think it's great what he's trying to do. Kurt and I had gone through an annulment process for him, not for me, but for him. He was previously married, short marriage, not even 2 years. And the process was just, awful. He did get an annulment, but, what they put you through has to be streamlined.
Right.
marriages, go through divorce, but don't penalize the person for being Catholic and having a marriage in the Catholic Church.
Right.
And it pushes you away from, the Catholic religion. My siblings that had gone through divorce left the Catholic Church because they could not marry in the Catholic Church. They could not receive communion. So you lose them. He's trying to change that, and for that, I applaud him.
Yeah, Terry, because I also went through the annulment process. It's a very lengthy, detailed.
Yes.
It takes like a whole year to get your marriage annulled, and then they ask you questions like whose fault is it?
Like all up in your
seriously?
Really?
Yeah, and
God says it's not our fault. Like,
and then you have to get like witnesses to testify for you and to justify for your own act. It was just, I didn't really enjoy the process, but I went through and got it done, and then there's a fine to it, When at that time I had to pay. There's $1,000 application fee.
It's a
no way.
It's a huge
Yes.
fee. And here's the deal:
Wow.
the
Yeah.
children that you have in the marriage.
Yeah, wait.
Okay.
Yeah,
they said, do you know if Kurt didn't have children in his marriage, and Cindy, you did. They say that your children or the marriage is not recognized in the church, therefore your children are, bastards. Really?
Yeah. Wait, as someone
That's
who's not
awful.
Catholic, that's the part that turns me off the most.
Right.
I look at it, and I just think, so you're
What
saying
makes
that
me
these
wanna be
children
Catholic?
don't exist, or like what's
Right.
what's the deal? It just seems completely unchristian.
Right.
The other thing is, since I play for so many Catholic masses, play the harp all the time, and I play for lots of weddings, and some of the priests are more sophisticated about it than others. But even I feel uncomfortable when, you get to the part where they're going to have a full mass and they say, if you're not Catholic, don't come up. I'm not giving you communion.
Right.
Now, some of them say it nicer than others. They, cross your arms. I'll give you a blessing. All the different things they do. But it's like, well, that's pretty, until we're one, holy, apostolic church, and I'm like, oh, that's really inclusive. That's a good way to get those people to want to come back. Just tell them they can't have communion.
Right.
Right. So hopefully this Pope is on his game, and he's really looking at it and saying, but I was going to make the comment when Cindy was saying about trying to bring all people back to faith, that what this Pope's mission,
That's
I
the
think,
difference.
is.
Yes.
Because I think all religions, with all the religions I play for, when you talk to the professional religious leaders, they're all concerned about losing membership. So it's not just a Catholic thing.
Correct.
It's all religions.
And I will tell you this, there was a poll that was put out in February of this year, and his popularity peaked at 90% among Catholics.
Wow.
But here's the number, 70% among the general public.
That's high.
So he's not
really
just
high.
bringing Catholics back to the church, he's bringing spirituality back to the
World.
The world.
Yeah.
Which is,
We have hope
that's
now.
the part for me.
Wait. So Janet said, what did you say about how he said, if you're a nonprofit and you're not serving the needs of the poor, you should
You're doing something wrong.
you should pay
shouldn't
taxes
do
and
it.
you shouldn't be a wait. Tell them what it said.
It says Pope Francis calls out churches who are using facilities as profit centers instead of helping the poor. He said if you cannot use your funds to help the poor and the needy, then you should no longer be considered a nonprofit organization, and you shouldn't be tax exempt.
Hello.
I love it.
Y'all,
I love
y'all
it.
listening?
And
Are y'all
the thing I
listening?
will
That
say
is
about
like-
the Catholic Church. They do, help parishioners. They help people that you don't even have to belong to that church. And if you are struggling, you can't pay bills, they do help you. You just go to them, and I don't know if a lot of people know
Oh,
that.
come on, Terry.
I don't think-
Terry,
yeah.
you're being la-la
Yeah,
there because you're so devout.
I'm coming-
But honestly,
I'm
honey,
coming
that's
to
just
you.
yeah. That I'm
Which
not-
church
I'm not-
do you go to, Terry?
I know which one she
I know
goes
she
to.
goes. Yeah, I just wanted her to say it so we can put it online.
Which
I'm
is
just playing.
part of the archdiocese financial structuring. They do have money that they give to the people that are in need. Honestly, they do.
Okay, Terry.
But people don't know. A lot of people don't know that. They don't advertise it. But if you can't pay, they're not going to pay your bills monthly. But they'll help you through hard times. They'll assist you with paying your bills to get you over the hump until and provide you with assistance. But people don't know that. But it is true.
Well, Terry,
Absolutely true.
there are good things in all religions, so we're not
Absolutely.
particularly saying anything bad. But honestly, they all have major flaws. I think we're all in agreement. And, for everyone, maybe they've helped. Maybe there are, a bunch of people who have tried to turn to the church and haven't been helped. So, let's just
I
be
agree.
fair in the description of it. And this Pope is actually on the topic of him. He is trying to change,
make a difference,
to make such a macro change in the thinking, both from the institutions and the people the institutions serve.
Yes.
And for that, he should be greatly applauded. And look, here I am standing up for the whole thing 100%, and I'm telling you I'm not Catholic, but I'm telling you I'm a huge fan,
but I think
because
that's
I
the beautiful
really
thing about it.
I do really appreciate where his heart is. Yeah. I really do.
Oh, yeah. He's trying to bring the people back to church, period, which is, that is what faith is all about. He's trying to make you believe again and have faith and hope, and, and that's the direction this nation needs to go into. We are so lost as a nation as far as faith is concerned. He's trying to reinstill faith in people. That's the blessing.
Okay, so do you think all the churches should be big, huge, fancy institutions with gold leaf all over them, and people don't have money and all this other stuff? I mean, they all have, big institutional flaws. So,
Absolutely,
this is what I think he's trying to address.
Right. So when is he going to be in the United States again?
He starts on his tour, a 6-day tour on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I will say
on the 19th.
And Sunday he'll be at Terry's house for dinner.
But I will say this. This is the thing. He's bringing back love, compassion, understanding, and tolerance.
Yes.
And that's what the world needs more of.
Yes.
So whether you're a Catholic or you're spiritual, we can all use a little bit more of those things. Yep. This is The Good Life. This is Gumbo Talk. And make sure that you meet me at Neo's, because we're always hungry. It is Thursday. Their specials are smothered chicken, breaded pork chops, Aiden's favorite, and cabbage, one of my favorites. Smothered chicken, breaded pork chops, and cabbage. Thursday specials at Neo's. Meet me at Mid-City at 3340 Bienville Street, 3340 Bienville Street. This is Eileen Carter, and we're out.
About to fall asleep when you talk about that.
It's